Hey guys, it's Shaco here. I read a lot about Santorin and being AFK after watching the Flyquest was an Evil Genius game, and I actually thought it wasn't Santorin that was AFK, it was his laners letting him down. And we're gonna take a closer look at how bottom lane managed the first 3 minutes and how Viper managed his first 10 minutes in the laning phase. So let's take a look at Santorin's jungle pathing to start out with. Both bottom lane and top lane from EG pretends to do a pull. Kumo does help Santorin do a pull, but EG's bottom lane pretends to do a pull. They didn't use any mana, so that could be a giveaway that they didn't do the pull. The normal pathing for a jungler to go the quickest level 3 is usually 2 buffs and Grump, and that's what Santorin will do in this instance. He'll go from his red buff to his blue buff to his Grump. I mean, he'll get level 3 from those 3 camps. Santorin will do the same thing, but will end up on the top side of the map instead. I'll now swap the perspective to Wild Turtle from Flyquest. As you can see, J4 is in the river and they're fully aware of him coming down. They are a bit cautious in the lane, but as you can see, they keep on trying to contest the minions and not backing off totally. It will resolve in J4 coming down and burning both of their flashes. So this lane is now really difficult for Lee to actually gank for. They have a Nautilus without flash and fairly low on HP, and they have an Aphelios that has no mobility at all. So that means if J4 actually counter ganks here, they will be screwed. If we fast forward a few seconds, like 20 or so, we'll see that EG are setting up a dive and they're actually executing on it. J4 is going to come out of the bush and will help Masahar TP down. Viper will also TP down, but it will be too late and he will miss out a lot of XP in the top lane. So now this lane is basically really difficult for Flyquest to come back from, because the lane state is now that Wild Turtle has to push this wave out, and now EG will come back to lane with more items and faster, so they will again have to push. As we just concluded before, it's really hard for Lee to go bottom lane now that Jarvan basically won the lane for EG. Both of the bottom laners doesn't have flash, so his Jarvan is there. It's basically a lost gank, and the game is almost over. So instead, it's normal that you go top lane. As you can see here, Viper is aggressively pushing his minions. Basically, he's hitting the minions all the time to set up a dive, you would assume. But now that he's stopped pushing his minions, as you can see now, he's just last hitting, and you notice he does the same on the next wave. If you wanted to set up a dive, you would normally set it up on the third minion wave, but Viper doesn't control his minion wave properly as he's just lasting now. He could have pushed it in on the second minion wave and made a cheater recall, as somebody called it, or went in to see where Jarvan started, so they will have more information. Now he ends up having his minion wave just outside of Aatrox's turret, which makes it really hard to harass Aatrox, and Aatrox will be able to easily pick up his minions and harass Viper back. As you can see here, it goes like this. And meanwhile, Lee Sin, as you can see on the minimap, is pushing inside to EG's jungle. Of course, Viper now has priority and can go join him if they find J4, but J4 is bot. So instead, Viper is stuck here, just outside the wave. Now, the other minion wave from EG hits at the 3rd minute, so there's no option of diving. Lee Sin has a hard time getting through all the minions, and then will hit Flyquest back if it were to be so. Now you can see Zoe's pinging, she's coming up, but again, it's impossible for Flyquest in this state of the lane to do anything about it, because the minion wave is just outside of Aatrox's turret and is not going to push in the next few minutes anyway. So now J4 is bot and ganking, and you will see Viper TP down there in a second when he's outside of Aatrox's turret, Aatrox's range, and waste a hell of a lot of time down here trying to recall. He basically gets nothing from this, except he just loses a lot of CS, and you can see his recall keeps getting interrupted. So not the best start for Viper here. He's basically spent, he didn't even notice his recall got interrupted. Must be frustrating. Camille has now returned to lane after Aatrox pushed it in, and that means the wave is now pushing towards Aatrox because it hit the turret. As you can see, Camille is slow pushing this now. She's not aggressively hitting the minions. She's just trying to last hit them. which again means the wave is probably not gonna hit the turret probably again. As you can see, just last hitting. If Camille were to like aggressively push this out, it would have hit the turret probably. And it would have been possible for Flyquest to dive Aatrox. Now, instead, the minion waves ends up right outside of the turret again, which means Kumo has a chance to harass Viper back, and Viper doesn't really have a chance as a melee hero to harass Aatrox. As you can see, Zoe pinged up here, and Lee is here as well, so they're trying to set up a dive after the bottom lane again got dove. Aatrox naturally backs off of the turret because he can like get the idea that Flyquest needs to do something top, and his bottom lane is winning so hard. Now that the minion waves return, he dares to go back to the wave because he's full health, so it's really hard to dive an Aatrox. Also, Zoe is totally gone and missing all the minions from the middle wave. Again, Viper is hitting the minions aggressively to try and push them in. Again, he had a chance to set up a freeze if he just were to just let Aatrox push it out a bit and actually give his jungler an opportunity to gank. Again, he's contesting the wave, pushing it up, and it ends outside of Aatrox's turret again without any option of harassing him. Okay, so he pings up again now. They want to try and set up another dive, but this is an Aatrox with full health. And as you can see, this ends up in no dive, and Viper actually chooses to recall. Meanwhile, Power of Evil still tries to poke a little bit on Kumo, but without any good things coming out of it. Here we see Viper making the next mistake. Instead of getting a phage or some armor, he has magical boots, so he can't buy the ninja tablets already, but he could have got some armor and a phage. Instead he gets the Tiamat. And what does Tiamat do? It pushes the wave. And how has Viper managed his wave so far? Terribly. He hasn't been able to set up a dive, and he hasn't been able to do a freeze. Now look at the wave. Aatrox pushes this wave, and there are 3 caster minions and 1 melee minion with a little bit of health. This means that Viper could actually set up a freeze now, if he chooses so. Again, he aggressively contests the minions, takes some damage, and backs off. Now Aatrox has control of the minion wave, and Aatrox will push it in. But again, this will be hard if Viper actually didn't just butcher the contest of the wave. Let's see. Now he could choose to go up to the wave and hold it, and he chooses not to. So again, now this will mean that he has no chance of a freeze against Aatrox. It means he just pushes out the wave and does nothing. So in this mini wave, he should be able to push it and push it into Aatrox's turret. And then he would be able to do a roam, because there's no option of Aatrox actually getting killed here. As we can see, Viper ends up going into the EG jungle and putting down 2 wards, which is a good use of his time this time around. Now he's safe from most J4 ganks, but as you can see, J4 hasn't even touched his golems, which probably means he's going bot lane again very soon. As you can see, Viper returns to lane now, and again, if he didn't buy the Tiamat, he would be able to set up a freeze now. If he actually set up a freeze, he would be able to have Lee Sin come gank for him. But because he keeps pushing the wave, he keeps having priority in lane, but there is nothing at all to have priority for here. So again, why does he not freeze the wave? He just ping-ponging waves between him and Aatrox, and they keep having even CS, and Aatrox is really happy about this because his bottom lane is winning the game for him. So this is really frustrating to look at. I skipped over the Rift Herald fight at 9 minutes that Flyquest won, EG got the Herald and more tempo in the game. But the end, we're going to conclude up now that Lee probably didn't have a chance to gank top lane. We've been watching it for 10 minutes, and there has literally been no option where Aatrox has been over the middle of the lane where Lee had a chance to gank. Now, again, if Viper didn't buy Tiamat, as we can see another example of here, he had a chance to set up a freeze and help Lee actually gank the lane. Viper wasn't able to set up any dive on Aatrox either, and this stems from actually his champion damage. As we can see here, he did around 2100 champion damage in the first 11.5 minutes. So without actually doing any trades and getting Aatrox low, it's a really hard job for Lee to actually come and gank for Camille here. So all in all, I think you need to understand that the jungler is not always at fault when nothing happens on the map. He needs his laners to actually set up a proper wave for him to actually gank for. That's all for now. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Until next time.